Let's talk about Clown and Cornfield, which is the latest film from Eli Craig. And like I've said before, we need more Eli Craig, but let's get into something real quick before we talk about Clown and Cornfield. We are doing a Drop digital code giveaway on our Instagram at Culture Elixir Bits. Drop is the latest film from Blumhouse and Christopher Landon, a film we caught at South by Southwest and enjoyed a lot. If you want a chance to watch this movie for the first time, or if you loved it and you want to keep rewatching it and want the digital code, then make sure you go to our Instagram at Culture Elixir Bits, go to the post where we have poster itself and comment, drop, and follow us for more giveaways we're going to be doing all summer because we got a ton of things coming up. But let's quickly talk about Clown and Cornfield, its premise, what happened, and where exactly does it go next. So like I said, Eli Craig directed this film, and Eli Craig has been sort of missing for a bit, right? In my opinion, he gave us Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which was great. Then he did Little Evil, and now he comes back with Clown and Cornfield, which is based on a book from Adam Caesar. And let's talk about this movie because it was such a fun ride, and I'm very excited to see horror go in this direction. So basically what you have here is Friendo the Clown as the new icon, but also the town's clown mascot, and the town is Kettle Springs, Missouri. And at the beginning of the film, we see that Friendo the Clown is sort of a staple for Kettle Springs, Missouri, with being the mascot of the Bay Pen Corn Syrup Factory, which has given so many jobs, so many opportunities to the town, and has sort of become legacy for these people. Now, at the opening shot, we see that Friendo the Clown decides to kill some teenagers that are out here in a cornfield, but then we quickly jump to the present day time where we see Quinn Maybrook and her father Glenn moving into Kettle Springs. So basically we got the new girl here and she's trying to fit in. Her and her father aren't really eye to eye. They're not really on the same page. It's a pretty rocky relationship, especially after Quinn's mother passed away. She's quickly greeted by one of her neighbors, Russ, who decides to walk her to school, and we see that Russ is sort of like an outsider. She quickly befriends another group of people who consist of Cole Hill and his group of friends when they have detention together because Mr. Vern, one of the teachers, got pranked and decided to punish the whole class. And this group of friends consists of Janet and also Matt, Ronnie, and Tucker, and Cole decides to tell Quinn that they run a YouTube channel about Friendo the Clown terrorizing them at the Bay Pen factory, and this is causing them to get a lot of views and notoriety. And it seems that everybody's not too happy about this because some people in the town, like I said, sort of worship Friendo the Clown because he sort of represents tradition and what was great about this town before, and you quickly start to pick up what this movie's trying to talk about, but we'll talk about that at the end of the video. We quickly see Sheriff Dunn, the sheriff here, tell her not to associate herself with Cole and his friends, and tells the father to keep an eye on her, especially not wanting her to be with them. But we see that Quinn hangs out a lot with them, and then they decide to make Quinn a part of a prank video, and we see that she does get scared when she sees somebody in the Friendo costume come out, but quickly realize it's one of the friends and they were just filming the video. So Glenn isn't too happy that Quinn is hanging out with Cole and decides to confront him about this. Quinn gets pissed off about it, and their relationship's getting a bit more deteriorated as well. Quinn watches the video they've done that night and decides that, yeah, this is pretty fun and all, but then she notices something really weird. There is a second Friendo in the video frames, and it's none of the friends, and nobody knew who that was or that he was even watching them that night. She decides to send a screenshot to Tucker, who also gets a notification from his doorbell, and he assumes it's one of his friends, and he decides to get a Nerf gun, but before that, he finds a Bay Pen music box in his closet. He decides to crank the handle, and a small Friendo appears, and he's just dismissive of it, but then quickly, a Friendo does appear, a real person dressed as Friendo, and kills him. So, Bay Pen music box, don't crank it. Don't crank it. But the next morning, we see that Quinn decides to sneak off to Founders Day, even though her father said she was grounded, and she decides to join Cole and the rest of the group. But at the festival, somebody on the unicycle accidentally engulfs the Friendo float in flames, and the whole town is pissed, the mayor and all of that. Sheriff Dunn decides to accuse the group of sabotaging the festival and puts them all in jail. One of the friends, Matt, wasn't there, and he's working out in his garage when a Bay Pen music box appears, and we see that Friendo comes to kill him, decapitating him with the barbell, and that's pretty much what we see there. Two friends down. Quinn is then grounded after being released from jail, but Quinn decides to sneak off yet again, this time going to a party with Cole at a farmhouse where they meet up with the others and decide to just have fun. You know what? What's the worst that's going to happen? Well, it gets really worse from here on out. But we quickly see that Quinn and Cole decide to go to a nearby shed and have a little bit of intimacy, but Cole stops it, and this makes Quinn get embarrassed and run outside and quickly realize that maybe this is the least of her worries right now, because we see that one of their friends, Ginger, gets killed by a crossbow bolt to her back, and we see that they pretty much think it's one of the pranks at first, but quickly realize no, something's happening here, because we see Matt's head be thrown, a head itself, no body or nothing. This is when they're just like, yeah, there's something else going on here. They all run to the barn, and then they are cornered by the crossbow wielding friendo, and as they try to escape, they do run into Russ, who then shoots the friendo, but they are quickly surrounded by multiple friendos. So Rust is back. Rust had been missing in action, and for the most part in the movie, you thought Rust was maybe Friendo the clown, right? Maybe he was trying to get revenge on something. Him and Cole had been friends in the past, they said, and they had been having all of these problems, and it's been a turbulent relationship for them. But Rust is here, and the Friendo the clowns are surrounding them. So we quickly got two things clarified. It's not Rust, and there's more than one Friendo the clown. That's how the Friendo the clown was able to move so fast throughout the film. They then run to the shed, and they find a sewer grate that Quinn, Cole, Janet, and Ronnie used to escape, while Russ decides to stay behind and set off a bomb so that they can buy some more time. They then reach a road where they call for a car that's passing by and see that Sheriff Dunn, who doesn't want to listen to them and says it's Cole who's trespassing, and arrests Cole. We then see that Glenn goes out looking for Quinn, that somebody has gone into his building where he practices his medicine since he is a doctor, and he sees an injured friendo and is forced to help this friendo out, which of course is the friendo that we saw Russ take out. And there's another friendo there who is saying, you better help him or I kill you and your daughter. So we have to see Glenn have to work on this friendo in order for Quinn to be okay. So things are quickly turning here. So we see that Glenn has to work on this guy, but he decides that now, knowing what exactly is going on in this town, he creates a diversion, and he's able to get the best of these two, killing the captor and leaving, of course, the one that's injured right there to die. So now Quinn and also Ronnie and Janet try to get to the Tillerson house, but then when they are hiding in the cornfield, we see that Ronnie is killed. Quinn and Janet reach inside to the Tillerson's house, where they see a friendo on the living room armchair, and they are like, wait, he's just dead. So let's go up to find a phone, where they find a landline, but it's actually a rotary phone, which they don't know how to use, which I thought was so hilarious in the movie when they do these things, when it's like this newer generation knows nothing about the older generation, and it just fits with the theme, which we'll talk about pretty soon. Just hold on, y'all. So we quickly see that they are trying to figure out what's going on, and they notice that there is a bulletin board regarding Bay Pen's closure alongside pictures of groups of friendos, and they realize that they've actually been trapped, and the dead friendos actually alive, and he's rushing at them with a pitchfork, narrowly missing Quinn but impaling Janet to the ceiling. Quinn pulls the pitchfork down and yanks it out and uses it to kill the friendo, which causes Janet to bleed out and die, just as the friendo also dies next to her. We see as Quinn then runs out to the Tillerson truck, but is unable to operate it because once again it is manual transmission and she's not used to using this, but she sees that friendos are about to come up to her right now. And I mean, the carnage is just crazy in Clown in the Cornfield. Now I'm thinking about it, we saw like 2 friends die in the span of like 30 minutes, so it's crazy. We then see that Quinn wakes up inside the factory, where she is surrounded by friendos, because the friendos of course got her in the truck, but they then take off their masks to reveal who they really are, and it's Sheriff Mr. Vern. We also have Otis, the diner's waitress Trudy, and also Arthur Hill, who is the mayor but also Cole's father, and he has now disowned Cole and reveals that he is the leader of the friendos and blames the teens for all of the town's troubles that are happening right now. Cole is revealed to be hanging on by a noose at the top of a pile of wood, and Arthur Hill says he's just defending traditions. That's all he's trying to do here and keep the town as it is. However, before they can kill Cole and Quinn, they are interrupted with Glenn, who drives his car into the factory, knocking over the pile of wood, killing Trudy and Otis, and stops the car in place so Cole won't be hanged. So we see that Cole is going to be alright, right? Quinn then escapes into a room full of Frendo's costume, being followed by Sheriff Dunn. Quinn then disguises as Frendo, takes off her mask, and grabs a stun baton, shoving it into Sheriff Dunn's mouth, which was an insane and gnarly kill. South by Southwest crowd was going crazy with this one. However, we see that Arthur Hill then uses Glenn's car to escape, and Rust is able to shoot the noose around Cole, and the two friends finally admit the feelings they've been having for each other and kiss, because yes, Rust and Cole were a thing, and then they broke up. They felt like they couldn't be themselves, but they finally, in the face of danger, of death that was coming for all of them, they decide to just live their truth and be in love. They then all run outside and find an unused Baypen Volkswagen Beetle, and Glenn then teaches Quinn how to use the manual transmission, as he was trying to do this even earlier in the movie, so it comes full circle, y'all. It's all full circle right here. But just as Quinn gets the car moving, Mr. Vern is there wielding a chainsaw, but Quinn just stomps on the gas, running him over. We then see 1 year later, Glenn is now running for mayor, Quinn is going to leave for college, and Cole and Rust are a couple now, and they've come to say goodbye to their friend. Quinn drives off and she finds the dreaded Baypen music box in the back seat, but unbothered, she throws the box out of the window as the film ends. So I thought this was such a great film, honestly. Really loved everything that was happening here. Now, I will tell you, I was so surprised when it came to there was multiple Frendos here, and I really love how it ties back to this tradition that they're trying to keep, right? Like these people are trying to sort of keep the tradition alive, and the way they do it is by sort of making tradition something to be feared, right? You don't mess with Frendo the Clown, and it's sort of like how people try to hold on to these old traditional values that are very toxic and all of that nowadays, and they still really want to blame everybody else for the downfall of their like life or what they quote unquote believe. So I think with Clown and Cornfield, let's just talk about the ending itself. Arthur Hill has escaped. So Arthur Hill, pretty much the leader of the Frendo the Clown sort of group that was out here terrorizing and trying to keep quote unquote tradition alive, he is alive. He left in Glenn's car, so he's alive. Everybody else died. Now I'm curious how that sort of was the fallout of this all, right? Like, what does the rest of the town think about what exactly happened here? We do see that Glenn is now running for mayor, so I think we definitely do see Arthur Hill come back. There are 3 books in The Clown and Cornfield. I haven't read the second one, so I don't know what the hell happens. Should I read it? I don't know. I think I am going to read it, and maybe we can talk about it if y'all want, if you have read the book and all of them, so stay tuned for that. But I do believe Arthur Hill will come back. The title of the second book is called Frendo Lives. Now, I don't know exactly how Quinn does exactly continue on here, but I do know that she is part of the second and the third book, so there's definitely potential there. Overall, I thought it was an interesting take where we have the whole town, not the whole town, right, but a few select high-ups in the town feeling that they need to keep Frendo the Clown alive in a way where they sort of like took down anybody who made fun of Frendo the Clown or the town's traditions, or try to sort of deviate away, and they sort of blame the younger generation. And we see that all too often now that we're talking a little bit deeper about the themes and all of that, because yes, at its core the movie is about Quinn and her father sort of mending their relationship and her overcoming these things that have sort of plagued her, like her mother's death, being able to get above her grief, right? She doesn't necessarily have to get over it, but she has found a way to sort of find more strength within herself, we've seen. And I think also with Rust and Cole, they sort of see it now that they just have to live their truth, their life. This is who they are, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks in this town or the world. They just have to live their truth, and the truth is that they love each other, and we see that at the end as they share the kiss with one another. This is the reason why we saw that Cole was always like pushing off any other girl that was trying to like be with him and all of that, and sort of him also giving mixed signals because he was trying to repress those feelings, but he sees that he doesn't have to do that anymore. He's able to live his truth. And I think the thing with Frendo the Clown, it also represents the ugly side of tradition, where these things and these sort of quote unquote like ways it was done before can sort of be toxic, problematic, and don't really fit into the world today. But so many people that swear by them and all of this will keep pushing it down and down, no matter who gets hurt, who dies, and all of this. Arthur Hill was willing to sacrifice sacrifice his son in order to keep tradition. And I think we see many days today the older generations really okay with letting the younger generation down and letting them just like whatever to them, because I just want to keep how things were because that's how it is, because I'm scared of change. I'm scared how things can be done differently, and I don't want better for them just because they're the younger generation because I didn't get better, right? Like that's a very selfish way to look at the world, and it's what we see was the ultimate downfall of the friendo group right here. And I'm curious to see how we continue on, but let me know about your opinion on Clown and Cornfield. Did you enjoy the movie? Did you not? What do you think about the ending? Have you read the rest of the books? And are you excited if they continue this franchise? We shall see how it does at the box office this weekend, but as always, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We're on the road to 40,000 subscribers, less than 200 to go, almost there. Very excited about this, so cannot wait. And as always, I'll see all of you next time. Remember, we are doing a drop digital code giveaway on our Instagram at CultureElixirBits. All you have to do is go to that post over there, comment drop on that post so I know you want to be eligible for that giveaway, and make sure you follow us there because we're going to be doing more giveaways all summer, so don't miss out on that. I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.